Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I am Anand Narasimhan. BJP leader Nishikant Dubey shared a declassified 1963 telegram of the US State Department alleging that former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and her father, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, were responsible for decisions that led to the territorial concessions to Pakistan. Reasons or perhaps an initiative or a move that for which Bharat is still bearing the brunt today in key areas. Now, according to Nishikant Dubey, Bharat had agreed to return territories in Poonch and Uri, forcibly occupied by Pakistan. It was prepared to designate the entire Neelam and Kishanganga Valley in Gurez as the international border along the line of control. The document dated 9th of February 1963 details discussions between Indian Foreign Minister Swaran Singh and Pakistan's Zulfikar Ali Bhutto that held under the mediation of the US and Britain amid Cold War pressures. The telegram says, and I quote, Swaran Singh, in presenting the Government of India proposal, described it a line of peace and collaboration and one which accorded with ethnic and linguistic as well as important economic factors. Broadly speaking, it followed ceasefire line with certain limited adjustments. In the central sector, it straightened out the Poonch sector, and in the Muzaffarabad district, it followed the Baramulla district boundary. Thereafter, following the line of the Kishanganga watershed to south of Kishanganga Valley, leaving all of the valley and certain areas to Pakistan. As quid pro quo, there would be adjustments in favor of Indians around Kargil. Nishikant Dubey has said, and I quote, the only reason for India's problems today is the hand of Congress, question mark. With whom? End. That's the end quote. Now, earlier on Saturday, Nishikant Dubey criticized the Congress party for its role in the 1968 agreement that led to India ceding 828 square kilometers of the run of Kutch to Pakistan, despite India's victory in the 1965 Indo-Pak War. Now, but this is not the only deal and concession with Pakistan under Congress rule. Back in 1991, there was an agreement on notifications for military posturing between Bharat and Pakistan. In 1991, there was an agreement for prior notification for military exercises, maneuvers and troop movement near the border. Bharat decided to create an intimation mechanism via diplomatic channels within specified time frame before planned military activities. The Congress party's record has been of restraint, which more and more evidence reveals a compromising and soft attitude instead of a punitive, stronger approach that would protect the sovereignty and the territorial integrity of Bharat. But this is a softer attitude towards Pakistan. Now just look at the UPA regime. Dr. Manmohan Singh, ex-Prime Minister, 2008, post-26/11 Mumbai attacks. We will go after perpetrators of the crime, but we will do so in a manner that is prudent and effective. P. Chidambaram, ex-Home Minister, 2009. India is not a warmongering country. We will take diplomatic and legal steps to ensure justice. Dr. Manmohan Singh, ex-Prime Minister, 2013. After beheading of Indian soldiers, it cannot be business as usual with Pakistan. S.M. Krishna, ex-External Affairs Minister, 2011. Dialogue the only way forward. War is not an option between two nuclear states. A.K. Antony, ex-Defense Minister, 2013. Armed forces have freedom to respond to a developing situation along LOC appropriately. Now the big question emerges, has Congress ruled India have a record of compromises that have perhaps compromised with not just the sovereignty, security, but the territorial integrity of Bharat? Joining us, Tohin Sinha, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Nikul Patel, Leader Congress. Namaste, Jai Hind, gentlemen. And we are having this conversation at a time when Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Bhuj has turned around and said, "Aram se roti khao, varna meri goli khao." That's the difference in the tone, tenor, and what's happened in the past and what the posture of Bharat is in the present. Nikul Patel, how would you want to respond to this charge that under Cong rule, Bharat was compromised? Bharat was more influenced by external powers like the US, the UK, the Chinese, and succumbed to those pressures and wilted compared to now.
See, if you see right from the independence, there are different times and duration during which we were in war with Pakistan, and there were so many points during which we were into diplomatic talk, and definitely there are so many treaties that have been signed as per those time durations. But if you say that we have compromised things, then I think that I would like to negate it, because we have seen during the wars what happened to Pakistan. They have to surrender. Secondly, there was a partition of Bangladesh. Thirdly, there were so many international treaties that has been signed as a part of the end of the war. So I think at present, if Bharatiya Janata Party is believing that they are more predominant than Congress, then they have their own stand. But we have always tried to build our nation to very strong with respect to our all internal security, larger interest of the citizens of the country. And I will never say that Congress had ever compromised with the nation.
Congress has not compromised with the nation. Twin Sinha?
Well, namaste, Anand. Namaste, everybody. The Congress party has a history of being callous, of being irresponsible, on issues of national security. So while Nishikant Dubey ji may have highlighted, Nehru's intent, or maybe, the possibility of him handing over Uri and Pooch, fact is that over the last many decades, Congress has squandered away opportunities to protect national interests. For instance, when 93,000 prisoners of war were in Indian captivity after 1971 war, two simple questions. Did Indira Gandhi try to utilize that position of strength to get back POK? And number two, did she try to renegotiate with Bangladesh, or with East Pakistan, which became Bangladesh, the length of the chicken neck corridor, which is a vulnerable point for India even today? Now, if Indira Gandhi did not, then, it only shows that they were always very, very dismissive of our neighbors, our enemy neighbors. And, enemy neighbor is one, but obviously Bangladesh hasn't had a great equation with India, particularly, after. So my point is very simple. The Congress has squandered away multiple opportunities. The Congress lacked in political intent in the same year, 1994, when, the whole decision to implement a decision taken in 1991 was taken, wherein the troop movements were to be communicated to Pakistan. If you remember, in that same year, Congress had passed a resolution in Parliament stating a commitment to get back POK. Now, if we were to tell them in advance about the movement of our troops, how was it even practically possible to get back POK? So I think, the Congress always lacked in political intent and political willpower, as you rightly pointed out. After 2008 terror attacks, even then, Dr. Manmohan Singh, ruled out the possibility of retaliatory strikes as punitive action. In 2007, he is said to have considered handing over Siachen. So I think all of these prove that the Congress has always been dismissive on the issue of India's land and on the issue of national security.
I had the chance to speak with General Nirmal Kumar Vij, the former army chief, 2003 to 2005. So soon after the Kargil conflict, he took over as army chief. He was part of the entire Kargil conflict. He's also a 1971 war veteran. This is what General Vij had to say, a small excerpt. Just listen to this, please. Brokered ceasefire this time around. How has the dynamic changed? And at every point, I come back to that question. Have we let the enemy off the hook? And has that come back to hurt us?
Even then, if you remember, the 7th Fleet came into Bay of Bengal. The Americans were putting pressure on us to stop it because they knew that the Pakistanis will not be able to withstand us in the western sector. As you only mentioned that we almost were on the gates of Lahore. Somewhere near that post office, which is, I believe, outside Lahore.
Yeah, the post office, correct. General D.B. Shekhatkar has pictures of his, command and the troops present there.
So the point is, but we stopped the war because our purpose was to divide Pakistan into two. And the moment we took Bangladesh, the ceasefire was declared by us. So that is 71, but the pressure was there. The Americans were putting pressure on us. I believe, I've learned, I am not sure, that the Chinese were also wanting to come in. And they were told by the Russians to lay off. So they said otherwise they'll use nukes. This is what I read those days.
Okay.
From whatever came in the paper.
No, but land and territory that Bharat had acquired, We don't learn from our enemies also. चीनी तो जहाँ घुस जाते हैं वहीं बैठ जाते हैं. Why didn't we go back and sit where we were and say, अच्छा यहाँ से is the new normal?
That we have done, unfortunately, that is outside my realm of scope. But like we gave away Haji Pir after 65. Now Haji Pir has a tremendous value. If Haji Pir was with us, then the valley will not be separated,
Correct.
From which you are there. But that has been the government approach. In 71 also we gave away 93,000 prisoners.
Correct.
And today the Pakistan has the audacity to tell you that we will not stand by Shimla agreement. They begged for Shimla agreement. And Mrs. Gandhi, in her wisdom, for whatever reason, she agreed. So these are the governmental decisions which at times one may not agree with. But ultimately it is their call because we are in a democratic setup.
No, but there's a full conversation, goes into 35 minutes. He's just come with another book that is called Alone in the Ring. And that also says that Bharat is isolated. But there is nobody supporting Bharat. Just going back to Nikul Patel and Tuhin Sinha. Nikul Patel, you heard that. A former army chief who served in 71 had shrapnel on his face. That's what, he's borne the bullets right out there. And he says, I perhaps personally didn't agree with Mrs. Gandhi's decision. Bharat buckled under pressure. We ceded territory that we had already acquired. We could have ensured that Kartarpur Sahib was here. We could have ensured POK at that time was here. We had 90,000 of their prisoners. This is something which many believe was perhaps one of the biggest. And today the same Pakistan which begged for Shimla agreement then, agreed to make it a bilateral issue, today says it will not consider it anymore.
See, I think along with you and Tuhinji, entire country listened right now from your platform, and he said that we are a democratic country and the decision by the government is the best. And many of us have thought that at that particular time there can be such a negotiation or there can be some acquisitions during those days. Similarly, at present also, when after Operation Sindoor, lot of countries people feel that India was in a better position to go along with the Pakistan and ask for POK as well as some territorial things. But definitely the Pradhan Mantri along with the government had gone with the ceasefire. And I don't want to get into it, but definitely we are a country where we feel that we didn't initiate anything, and we always feel that we are not like China for expanding our lands and territories. Definitely now looking to the neighbors, the government feel that we need to do that, and that's their own prerogative right now. So I don't feel that Congress had ever tried to make the country feel that we are not working in the larger interest of the country.
Now, here is the thing, the difference, sir, is, and if my memory serves me right, in 1964, soon after the passing of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the parliament had unequivocally ratified that Pakistan occupied Kashmir as sovereign Bharatiya territory and that it will always remain so. In 1971, Bharat was not responding to an act of terror. It was not going in like in Operation Sindoor with an objective of destroying just the terror bases. 1971, it was an open war between two nations. And when you have war and there is territorial supremacy, that would have given Bharat long-term sovereignty and political advantage, and perhaps peace, the bleed by 1,000 cuts would not have happened at that time to cede this advantage. How is that fair? Or was it because the leadership thought these lands don't matter to us? Like Aksai Chin didn't matter, not a blade of grass grows there, etc., etc. Tuhin Sinha, are you willing to buy Mr. Nikul Patel's explanation?
Anand, in Pahalgam, 26 people were killed. But if you remember the early 2000s, especially 2004 to 2008, there were bomb blasts which have killed more than 200 people in the heart of India's financial capital. And even then, these people were obsessed with the vacuous Aman ki Asha. So, these people had made India, they suffer from, the Congress party, I'm sorry, suffers from an inferiority complex. Even today, if you look at the way Rahul Gandhi has tried to spread misconceptions around an innocuous statement of the External Affairs Minister. Can you imagine any country informing the terrorists they Congress, number one, is logically challenged. Number two, it is intellectually challenged. Number three, it is a cowardly party. Can you imagine us telling Pakistan that we are going to strike you, and that is why 100 terrorists got killed? And they want us to believe that Masood Azhar at 75 is the fittest of them all, who managed to escape amidst all that. So this Congress party, has mischief written all over its intent today. And it was never serious about national security. But yes, it has squandered away multiple opportunities. Some time back, about an hour back, if you've heard Prime Minister's speech, look at the language, look at the tenor. That is how you deal with Pakistan. Pakistan, chupchap roti khao, warna meri goli khaoge. I think that this is the language which a goon country, which has managed to bully us for decades. This is the language which that country understands. And I'm glad, I'm so proud that Honorable Prime Minister is speaking to them in a language which they understand.
But what about the compromises of the past, Nikul Patel? Those are the ones that continue to haunt us today. The leadership that questions what has been done has to turn back and say, what have we handed over? Look at the difference, the stark contrast. In 2013, Defense Minister of the country says, I have no money to buy weapons. I can't buy aircraft. We were 3 squadrons short. And he says, I don't have money to buy aircraft. And cut to that, exactly 12 years later, 4 days before Operation Sindoor, a deal to buy, another 63,000 crore deal to buy 28 more aircraft is being signed. What, intent somewhere, when the leader of the opposition and then the largest opposition party turns around and asks questions, they have to take onus for what they did, what they allowed to let go. Will you cede an advantage like that? Like the one we had in 65, like the one we had in 71?
Yeah,
did we truly avenge 2611? Till Bahawalpur was bombed, till Muridke was bombed.
Yeah, fine. See, you are asking so many questions to past what happened, and definitely those all things are answerable. But if you see, if the present government and the Prime Minister is feeling that he is very strong enough to take all strong decisions, then I think he also says that we are with the new war policy and it's an act of war. Then why they didn't act it? They just want to go on ceasefire with someone else, which told that you need to go for because they want to it. I think this is way BJP reacts, and that is what we want to portray. At our time, suppose what you are telling that some decisions were made. I think this time also the same questions has been faced by Bharatiya Janata Party government. So I feel that whatever decisions were taken at that time would be with respect to the government decision. At present, if the decisions are due to government and Prime Minister, I think intent of both the same, that we don't want war. And I think BJP is telling so many times that we don't want war. The thing can be discussed and negotiated. I think that is what the similarity in both the governments.
To Insana?
Well, we have very clearly, there is no similarity between the Congress approach and the BJP approach. We have made it very clear that if dialogue has to happen, it can happen only on 2 issues. Number one, when is Pakistan handing over POK to us? And number 2, when are they handing over the remaining terrorists to us? This was not the tenor of the Congress party, who used to pander to Yasin Malik, the representative of Pakistan in Kashmir. We have all seen pictures of Dr. Manmohan Singh, in friendly gestures with Yasin Malik. There is a massive difference. This is a new India. It can't even be compared to what it used to be pre-2014. And mind you, this is just the start. This is just the trailer. An incorrigible country like Pakistan will not give up its terror obsession so easily. In some way or the other, they would want to avenge the humiliation, and that is when India's response will no longer be proportionate. It will be of a magnitude which will probably, signal the beginning of the end of Pakistan.
Nikul Patel?
My friend is so excited, and he must also remember how the plane was hijacked and what the government, BJP at that time had done. So don't try to buy an argument that Congress government had done nothing. I think if you feel that you can do it, then I think you must do it. Just speaking over here will not make the things. And cursing Congress is not going to help you out in letting people know about it, that, okay, there is no now ceasefire. And even BJP people have come out and say that, okay, we can have peace talk and we don't want war right now. So I think both both governments are working in the larger interest of the country and not that should be
Here is the difference, sir. Here is the difference, Nikul Patel. There is a flaw in that argument that you make. The flaw in the argument is in 1965 and 1971 and even during 1999 Kargil, at one point in 1965 and 1971, Bharat was in open war with Pakistan, and it was Pakistan which was the aggressor. Bharat had captured territory and it had 90,000 prisoners, POWs. Whose pressure did Bharat yield to at that time, when Bharat had the advantage and the opportunity to press home and correct certain anomalies? Why was it not done? 1999 to 2001, the Kargil operations at that time, the entire aspect was limited to only Kargil. It was a conflict. There was an arrangement between the troops that they would not allow this conflict to spill over into other areas. Now, who made that arrangement? Whether both honored that arrangement, that is for people to document. But at that time also, Bharat did not cede territories. Bharat did not cede territories that belonged to, that Bharat had occupied, especially the peaks. Some of the peaks, we continue to hold those strategic advantage. But what hurts us now is Uri. What hurts us now are regions like in Poonch, in Tangdar, where the Pakistanis are sitting on top, and these were lands which had Haji Pir. He talked about Haji Pir. Look at who ceded that territory. Why? Was the strategic importance of holding on to those territories lost with the powers that be? Had those territories been with Bharat at this point in time, since 71, do you think the enemy would have been able to do what they have done, the amount of damage that they have caused, come in so unhindered and try to bleed us so many times? There is a flaw there, sir, when you ask this question, because this time around Bharat did not go with a territorial intention. The escalation was done by the Pakistanis. Who waved the flag? Which DMO picked up the phone and So how? Sorry.
Your argument is that Pakistan is one who begged for ceasefire, and that is why our government, Pradhan Mantri, is telling that. I think that is also has to be asked. What happened to Pahalgam attack before that? So many incidents took place in the country where the terrorists have tried to kill our people also during after 2014. So I think every government rightly feels that what is best at that particular point of time, and that is what present government had gone with the decision of ceasefire. No. Similarly, at that time also that might have happened. I think that is what the correct way of representing the thing, rather cursing Congress of their decision.
No, nobody is cursing the Congress party. People are the Congress party, which puts out memes, AI generated memes, and then takes the entire argument to a separate hyperbole, will have to reflect on the past. A lot of what is happening today, mere words, twisting somebody's words is so big. Then the whole aspect stands with someone who didn't even credit or understand. A nation's prime minister did not understand the significance of Ladakh and Aksai Chin. What kind of a world leader was that person then? What kind of a visionary was that person? A person who saw through the horrors of partition and realized what the enemy is capable of, could not see that the next biggest challenge was China. Something that even a Veer Vinayak Damodar Savarkar was able to read down and write it in 1942. Something that a Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose had written about in 1938. These are people who could very clearly see that the biggest challenge for Bharat is China. And the nation's first prime minister thought not a blade of grass grows there, so let's cede that entire land piece of 60,000 square kilometers. So please tell me, sir, what is the Congress party going from what authority with what authority? And from the history is telling the tale. I don't want to keep going on and on about it. The Congress cannot turn around and say we had nothing to do with the past. They were the ones who did it. They were the ones who decided under their rule to shut down ordnance factories. They were the ones who said let's do away with the army because nobody is going to attack us. They were the ones who went down and said Hindi Chini bye bye, while the Chinis were actually getting in. They had no clue. Tell me if that Prime Minister is not documented telling the people of Assam, I'm sorry, we cannot do anything but Assam is gone. Tell
Can
me,
I
sir.
respond? Yeah, I will respond. Yeah, definitely. Your argument is what you want to say is that the visionary prime minister then had not done anything. I think there are so many examples where Congress prime minister at that time had tried to establish so many public sector undertakings, DRDO. I think Congress is the person
Sir,
who
what is
had
the
tried
point
to
of
implement
having
the
every
most.
public sector
Now, let me
understanding
listen,
when there is no
land,
land, there is no sovereignty, when you are ceding space? Sir, my point is, sir, did in 1962 did the army general have a doctrine? Did the government have a doctrine what the armed forces had to do? In 2001 Operation Parakram, did the armed forces have a doctrine? Were they clear about what they, or were they just asked to mobilize forces? And they have no clue what needs to be done.
Not visionary. You want to buy an argument that prime ministers were not visionary? I don't think so. Today we are the country which in the entire world is taking note of it. I think the seeds and the roots were what built by Congress.
Sir, which visionary prime minister would turn around and say we are willing to share nuclear data with you after the Pokhran tests? We are willing to share the nuclear technology with you, which with a nation whose entire doctrine itself is to erase Bharat. Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, that document is also out in public domain. It's declassified already. Putin Sinha, final word.
You know, the Congress attitude was flawed when it was in power. It is 100 times more flawed today. Did you hear? He said your argument is that the DGMO of Pakistan called up our DGMO. It's not an argument. It's a stated fact. The world knows it. He's calling it an argument because these people are skeptical about our prowess. These people are skeptical about our powers and about our capabilities. The wicked glee which Rahul Gandhi has shown in demanding to know what are the losses in our side. Have you seen them celebrate half as much when our DGMO listed out 11 PAF air bases which have been destroyed?
Why are you so worried about whether Rahul Gandhi is celebrating it or not? I want to know why is all of nation not celebrating like it should? Are you sure the entire nation is celebrating as it should? Post up bells ringing because there is a 6,000 kilometer border which is unmarked, and there is a nation that has gone ahead and has a temerity, whose interim advisor has a temerity to combine and speak with all of Northeast Bharat in one breath. When he himself has got no position of election or selection within the government. So when nations around us have the audacity and temerity to speak like that, sir, then I think there are miles to go and promises to keep. And I think that humility is important.
Many victories grow stronger with time. One of the reasons why the nation is not wholeheartedly celebrating is that we are still on the watch out. Pakistan being a mischievous nation, we are still on the watch out, and we will make sure that any misadventure by them from here on will be retaliated even more. So, but in hindsight, when you look at this, the importance of Operation Sindoor will be historic.
Let's see the importance of Operation Sindoor. Does it mean a doubling of the defense budget to improve the foot on ground, the technology that is required, and also to try and block the lapses that have emerged? Where the enemy sitting on the eastern side has been looking at this as a testing ground and will come back far better prepared and has an economy 5 times our size. So that is something that we have to also be very, very mindful of.
News18.com marches way ahead of the Times of India with 38% more users on native and social platforms. Network 18, the undisputed leader of news networks, way ahead of the Times.